Welcome back to Morning Express. We're glad you're watching. Now, when a child struggles to read or write in school, he or she could easily be labeled stupid or a slow learner. But chances are that that child could be dyslexic. We bring you the story of Trevor Mugambi, whose life exemplifies what children and adults with this condition go through in society.
Meet 16-year-old Trevor Mugambi. You can tell from his work that he is an excellent painter, but he has a different story.
And I would get so scared. I would mumble up words. I wouldn't see sometimes words. I would be stuck. I would repeat a word over and over.
And when it came to reading, that made him feel dumb and dealt a great blow to his self-esteem. Luckily, Trevor discovered what was wrong. His teachers and parents found out that he is dyslexic and were able to get help for him. So what is dyslexia?
Dyslexia is basically children who are picture thinkers and visual thinkers. So for them to learn the alphabet and letters and numbers is very difficult because they're three-dimensional thinkers.
Research has shown that nearly 20% of children in Kenyan schools are dyslexic. However, many of them go unnoticed and unidentified. A dyslexic child will tend to be withdrawn, lack concentration, have poor handwriting and spelling. To cope in class, they have to cram to master texts that they do not understand. They are most likely to be last in class, particularly when taking exams. Some medical experts attribute dyslexia to brain damage or injury, though an exact cause is not known. Others suggest that this is a mental gift.
The sketches first, and then I come around and help you and see what they...
A dyslexic child is likely to have a dyslexic parent. James Mugambi, Trevor's dad, attests to this.
I'm dyslexic, and when I was school, I realized that I needed to learn how to read in my own way. And because I had such a strong zeal to succeed, I made sure that I struggled as hard as I could. And I learned some of the things that they do, modeling. I have my own way of modeling. Until today, I do a lot of drawings when I'm thinking about even processes and when I'm thinking about business structures and everything.
He has excelled in the business field even without formal training.
The dyslexia can be mild, where you may not be able to really identify it much, and then it can also be the major one.
Because of his father's support, Trevor was able to learn how to read with less difficulty. Much of his success came from the Davis method, which his facilitator Manisha Shah of Dyslexia Africa introduced him to earlier this year.
Very concentrated 6-day, 30-hour program, whereby we teach the children how to focus, how to overcome their problems with letters and numbers.
Dyslexia is an extraordinary gift. Most dyslexic can think in big pictures, solve great problems, understand how things work. They have a profound sense of originality and uniqueness. Trevor stands out in art and in sports. Now, as a student in Naisula School, he's more confident and more determined to succeed, especially in film and photography.
Yeah, I'll tell you what you've done.
Dorcas Wangira, KTN.
Dorcas there with that story setting the stage for our conversation this morning, and I'm joined by some of the people you've seen in that clip. We have Manisha Shah, who's dyslexia correction facilitator. We also have Patrick Rakiro, who's head of curriculum at the Naisula School, and Lydia Limbe, who has a dyslexic child with us in studio. We've of course been able to piece together a little of what dyslexia, that is a word that's going to give me a lot of trouble. I don't know what I'm going to do, but a learning disorder, but we don't know the cause. Shah, how is it that we have something that we can't quite understand completely?
Dyslexia is basically people who think in a different way. They think in pictures and images rather than a normal verbal thinking person who actually talks to themselves first. Yeah. Internal dialogue, and then they can, that's how they think.
But we don't know why that
words.
Happens.
Yeah. But these people, dyslexic people, are all picture thinkers. They have images coming into their mind all the time. So their memory is stored in pictures and images. So the letters and numbers are always a confusion for them. because they're two-dimensional, they're on paper, and these people are three-dimensional thinkers.
Rakira, what do you do at the Naisula school? What do you seek to do there?
Yeah, I'm the head of curriculum in the school, and I deal now with the classroom work of the dyslexic students. I am the teacher of Trevor, a one-on-one teacher of Trevor, and also Ian, another student of the same condition. So basically, we have to model these words that they can picture these words themselves. For example, they can, if you see a word cat, it makes sense to them. But if you remove the C, you have art. That art, they can't seem to put a picture to it. So you have to teach them how to model that word makes sense to their 3D dimensional thinking way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lydia, you have a child who has the disorder. Tell us about how you first found out about it. Was it something that took a while, or you immediately caught it?
It took a while. What happened is when I got to class 1,
right,
the teacher used to tell me, you know, your son, the teacher told me so many things. The teacher told me my son is lazy. My son is quote unquote mkora, because he can see when he interacts with the teacher can see that, you know, he's bright, but then it does not translate into the books. So, you know, took him from the front and from the front seat and took him back. I couldn't understand, so of course I was wondering, because even I could see that he's very sharp in the way he expresses himself, in the way he understands things, but then I didn't understand why it was not translating into his classwork. So I took him out of, I think first class 1, second term. I took him out of school. I was just like, you know, frustrated. Yeah. It's not working, and he was in like the best school within. We were in Kisumu at that time. Yeah. He was in the best school there, and I felt like, you know, they're not really understanding him. Neither was I. So, you know, I took him out of school for a whole term, just trying to figure out what to do. Yeah, what to do. Then I happened to mention to a friend who told me he could be dyslexic. And then that's when I started Googling, and that's how I knew that probably he is.
And then what did you do after that?
There's an organization called Dyslexia Kenya.
Yeah.
So I got in touch with them and told them what I had been seeing, because when I also tried to tutor him myself, some of the things I saw that was troubling him was words like B and D, W and M, some words like SAW, SAW, and was were almost the same to him. Okay. So when I reached out to this organization, and they told me, you know, to bring him for assessment, but they actually think, from what I'm saying, they actually think the chances of him being dyslexic is very high, but just to take him for assessment. So we came to Nairobi, had him assessed, and they told me, yeah, he's dyslexic, but not on the severe side.
Okay. Yeah. So talk to us. She's mentioned severe, then there's mild. How? Yes. How do they two show?
You know, like mild is a child who can actually memorize and, you know, go along with the school, but there's sometimes there is a point where they can't cope with the information and all that. That's a mild dyslexic. But a severe one is he cannot read at all, anything. He can't even write his own name or anything. So that's a very severe dyslexic. He's almost on the autistic spectrum.
Okay. Yeah. So parents need to be then very careful to be able to catch this, wouldn't you say? Yeah.
True. Yeah. Most parents, the challenge is most parents tend to buy the story of the teacher. That this child is lazy. Yeah. This child is slow learner. Yeah. And you can notice this at grade. Let's say year 2, you should be able to notice this, because below that year they are going through the learning curves, fear of school and all that. But when they now in the school system and still see your child is struggling with things like fear of reading, you try to get him to read, you feel like he really gets agitated when see some words. So that disorientation is actually noticeable by parents. So it's up to the parents to see which other part of how is my child thinking. Could it be so he's interested in modeling? Is it that he has problem with rhymings? So when you see that kind of condition and you see the child is literally putting an effort to study, but there is not translating into results, then we could be having a dyslexic child.
Okay, so we talked about the signs and the symptoms. Yes. Who's affected? I guess it starts at the childhood. Does it ever begin at a later stage?
Yes, I have had people who've finished high school and then they've gone into jobs, and that's where they find a problem. Okay. They can't read emails, they can't communicate properly, they can't read their messages on the phone. They're stuck. You see, they can't go further in their career. So that's when they realize that all this time I had dyslexia. And I've sailed through high school, primary school, just, you know, being a very mild dyslexic, it's a hidden disability. Then you realize that somewhere along your life, you have to get stuck somewhere, and then you have to get this correction program done.
So correction program and deal with students that have this condition, does it completely sort out the problem? Do you become like a, I would say, normal child, or do you still, is it something that you constantly have to keep working at going forward?
No, the world has made us such that without academic credential, you do not have much of opportunities. Now, what the correction program gives is that it brings them to the academic side, where they're able to at least perform better and at least get good grades. Because in mild, they can actually perform like the other students. When you have severe, he may not perform like the other student, but at least he's be able to understand what is being asked, or is able to comprehend the questions, is able to get to know the question, and at least be able to write himself.
So it's incurable, but it can be managed.
They'll always be dyslexic. They'll always be.
Yes.
Right. But it's a compensatory kind of a program for them to understand the education system and how to go about, you know, writing papers and filling in forms and all that, so that in future they can continue with their career.
Okay.
And, you know, grasp their talent. They also have a talent.
All right.
They have a gift. You know, either it's art or sports, or they're very good storytellers. They have very good marketing skills. There was a research done in England. All entrepreneurs, 30% of them are dyslexic. Yeah. This is a very high statistics level, and they're very intuitive. They think out of the box, and they have very original ideas, like Richard Branson. He is a dropout of high school, but now he's a multi-billionaire.
He's a great man.
Yeah.
And Lydia, talk to us more about, you said Trevor?
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. Interesting. Also, the child in the story was Trevor. Talk to us about him. So far, how is he doing? She's talked about them having other gifts. Have you been able to realize what that is for him?
He has very many gifts. He has very good photography skills.
Wow.
He records Friday briefing every Friday.
Does he?
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
He has art skills. He has sewing skills. He loves to cook. You know the way you and I, when you watch like a cooking program, we have to like write the ingredients and all that. He can watch and replicate it without writing.
Wow.
Yeah.
He'll just have it all in his memory.
Yes.
Amazing.
They have a photogenic memory.
Wow.
So
truly is a gift. Then I get the whole gift of dyslexia.
True. You see, like us visual thinkers, we think in 2 dimensions. They are able to see whatever they are perceiving in its 3 angles.
So these dyslexics are very good architectural people. They can picture a whole building without, you know, having the plans, or they already have it in their mind, how it's going to look. They're very good interior designers. They actually know how the room is going to look like, putting this color there, this sofa there. They already have it, work it out in their mind.
That's amazing. So can they learn then to read and write?
Yes.
They can?
They can.
Okay.
But they have to go through this
program. They have to go through the correction program.
Because this program uses their talent, the picture thinking talent, and we model all the words and letters and find out where the gaps are, and we fill in those gaps.
Okay. Does he feel like he's lacking in anything, Lydia, in as far as this condition goes, but he has these other talents? Does he feel, compared to other children, maybe when he sits with them and they're reading and doing all this other things?
No, not anymore.
Not anymore. So it was there before?
It was there, it was there before.
Okay.
And, his confidence level had plummeted. But then I got him into a school that handles dyslexic children. So, you know, probably the whole idea of interacting with, you know, his kind also got him, you know, his confidence level to go up. But now he doesn't have, you know, any of those issues. Yeah,
it's very important that they get that self-confidence, and because they, considering that they're in a normal setup with other students, when this happens to them, when they become disoriented, they feel scared, and they become like self-esteem goes very down, and so it becomes a bit of a challenge for them. But when they get their confidence up, those kids are amazing. They can do so many things you can't believe. So many.
Yeah. And interacting with the children in class, what are some of the things you've been able to pick? What are some of the challenges they face other than the confidence which you have mentioned?
Yes.
What is it in terms of first, because they're young, they're also trying to understand why is it that this is happening.
This is the problem.
Yeah.
The challenge they face is that a teacher is saying something, their way of processing the word the teacher is saying is longer than the other student. So you find by the time teachers normally are not so patient enough to repeat for them these things. So by the time the whole class seems to have got it, and he's in his own world wondering, okay, I think I'm, and they would leave the class and come straight to me very agitated. English is a problem, whatever it is a problem. So you have again to calm them down, whichever method of also calming them down, that they be able to control their disorientation process.
Sha, talk to us about this book. You were holding it as well during the interview.
Yes, this whole program that I do is based on this program, The Gift of Dyslexia, and the author is called Ron Davis. He himself is dyslexic. He's 74 at the moment. At the age of, in 1980s, he discovered that he couldn't read or write at the age of 38. So in those days, they didn't know what dyslexia was. They called him mentally retarded, and he was just kept in a classroom. He was just sitting in the corner, and nobody really cared about him and all that. So finally, he discovered that he can learn these letters and words in his backyard in his house. He was modeling those letters in the mud, and that's how he actually learned the alphabet and all that. And he actually found a way to control his mind.
So the condition has been there for ages.
It's been there for ages, but it's just not been awareness, hasn't been there at all.
And why do you think that is the case in terms of awareness from both of you, and people understanding? Because I get that in the classroom it is where the biggest problem would be with the teachers thinking this is just a child whose mind is elsewhere, other than in learning. So awareness, what is being done? Do we have societies, do we have group stakeholders that are coming out to say there needs to be more attention on this disorder?
Well, Dyslexia Kenya is actually doing that, bringing the awareness up. Phyllis Munye, who is the director, she was actually my parent. She also has a dyslexic child, and she was a very desperate mother who was looking for solutions for her child, and now she's done the program and she's very happy, and she wants to now, get the awareness to the whole Kenya and Africa, and help other parents, because what she has gone through, she doesn't want the other parents to go through the same way, because it's very hard to get schools who understand this dyslexia.
I think also she can attest to that. The Kenyan curriculum doesn't seem to provide.
It's very heavy.
It's very academical.
I would say
very heavy.
Very heavy. I think it doesn't seem to provide tolerance to this kind of students. It's more of result oriented. You don't get an A,
you're dumb.
You're dumb. Period.
And everybody can be an A student.
So they don't.
So the curriculum in itself.
The curriculum itself. I think they need to bring in more special needs teachers, and at least if they could, I'd put a special need teacher to carry out these kind of assessment on student, then we would have an easier time when we discover these kids, because the statistics a bit out of every 5, 1 is dyslexic. So you can imagine the whole country, how many dyslexic people are there, and how many do we know,
and all those talents we are wasting.
And those are talents we are wasting.
And they wouldn't carry on in school if they're just being taken from one school to another school and given tuition teacher, nothing will work.
So where is your child in school now, Trevor? Where is his school?
The school is
special
in
school? It's a special school, or is it an ordinary school?
It's an 844 school.
Yeah.
But most of the students there are dyslexic.
Okay.
So they have tailor-made the curriculum, well, just to suit the dyslexic children, but then they are now having the conversation with the Ministry of Education to try and have them have a different kind of exam. Because, for instance, like what I see my son, he would want to say, he actually means the word drought. But then he will not spell it as drought. He will spell it the way it is pronounced. Or he would text me and tell me, Mom, call. And instead of doing C-A-L-L, he would do C-O-L-L.
Okay.
So that in the 844 exam,
that would be wrong.
Yeah. No, that would be different.
So as for now, they still get to sit normal examinations with everybody else.
I think that's unfair. It's
the only difference with like his school, it's GCE, so the exam
will be tailored.
The exam is more tolerant than the 844 one.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what for you would be your plea as a mother? You've gone through this, going through taking him off school to just be able to understand what's going on. What would be your appeal to the people who are in power to make decisions, especially in the Ministry of Health?
It's really not Ministry of Health, it's Ministry of Education.
Okay.
We've been having this conversation, but the Ministry of Education has been trying to, relook at the curriculum, because everybody says it's heavy, So to have it be light, and then also to look at extracurricular activities, not as a pastime, as potential to, a way of life for someone, like for someone who's dyslexic. Like if you look at art, for instance, the art classes that are in, say, the primary school are just, for the sake of it, or even high school, unless you go to campus and do fine art, right?
And there's so many careers using art now.
So many.
Everything is graphical art, marketing to interior designing to architecture. Everything is used in designing and all that. And these people can really sail through in those careers.
Finally, Patrick?
Yeah, you see, the government removed some of the subjects that can help people discover these things.
Like which ones?
Art and craft. It's not longer being tested. Music, agriculture, home science.
Wow.
It's no longer being tested in the primary. And I think that was a bit a drastic move, because it's now locking these kids out. So we are concentrating only the able students, and we are not thinking of what about the alternative? What about those who gives us any good design that you see today was done by a dyslexic person.
Yeah. And important finally for you, Shah, would be perhaps to encourage them, as you were saying earlier, great people have had this condition but have gone ahead to conquer the world.
Steve Jobs,
yes, we saw him in that clip. So it is no reason not to
feel that you can't do anything in life.
Yeah.
You can carry on. It's just a small obstacle in your life.
It's not a disease.
It's not a disease.
It isn't a disease.
Right. So definitely calls for more awareness, I think, out there for people to understand, especially parents, because for parents it can, I can imagine, be very frustrating.
Very stressful.
Awareness and appreciation.
Yes. Well done. Good way to end up the discussion. Thank you all for joining us. Manisha Shah, Dyslexia Correction Facilitator. Patrick Rakiro as well, Head of Curriculum at Naisula School. Good job that you're doing there. Keep it up.
Thank you.
And Lydia Limbe, who is mother of a dyslexic child who's going to be a great person. Yes, he is. Thank you all for joining. He already is.
Thank you very much.
Let's wind up the show this morning by crossing over to the story we've been telling you, and it's going to be developing throughout the day. Voting in Bonchari constituency, which began with no incidences. We understand polls opened up at 6 a.m. this morning, and the situation has been calm as voters elect their member of parliament. 7 candidates will be battling it out to represent the constituency, with a population of close to about 115,000 people. President Uhuru Kenyatta and former Prime Minister Raila Odinga have visited the area recently to campaign for Ford People's Zebedeo Pore and ODM's Oro Oyoka, respectively.